Mic check, mic check, mic check. Good afternoon, and welcome to my YouTube. God, I got so confused. Yes, because I've been doing daily Facebook live stream in the morning, and now I'm having my YouTube live stream in the afternoon. So my brain is not functioning properly, but bear with me. I'll be back very, very soon. Give me a few seconds. I need my coffee. So I hope you guys all have your coffee ready, because it's going to be a fun talk today. Hopefully you're going to be enjoying this today. Good afternoon, Rick. Good afternoon, George and Rob Shoot Photos. Hello, Ohio in USA. Antonio, absolutely, Portugal, fantastic. Right, I'm going to wait a few more seconds. Hopefully there'll be more people here. Hello there. For Chakata, yes. Right, okay, welcome. I have a lot of things to talk about today, because you probably see my title. Are you a Micro Four Thirds photographer? The reason I just want to point out at this very point is that simply because we get a lot of sticks by saying that we are Micro Four Thirds photographers. So I just want to express my feeling about it, and also sharing my views coming from a professional commercial point of view, stepping into the Micro Four Thirds realm, and also switching from a larger format. So hopefully I'm gonna give some a bit of fun talk and explain why we shouldn't be feeling the way that other people has portraying us as a Micro Four Thirds photographer. So let's say a few more hello to people first. And hello Stuart, hello Alan, Robin, Joe, Benny, hello. Benny, no, have you not checked my last week's post? Yeah, everybody, can you correct Benny that the Micro Four Thirds is not going anywhere? Can people just stop asking this question? You know, like, you should know by now that we are not going anywhere. Micro Four Thirds still alive and kicking, and everything is as good as ever. James Ellis, hello there. And right, this is exactly the point that I should express very strongly in today's video. And if you guys haven't actually checked out my live stream from last Wednesday, it's about Micro Four Thirds is not dead. It's a direct response to a lot of the skepticism that's currently appearing all over the internet, and also to a lot of people who don't truly understand the importance and also the significance of Micro Four Thirds as a format and a platform. And also, like, people who may be wondering whether Olympus is going to be folded anytime soon because of all the Korean negative Korean news. No, you shouldn't be worried about that either, because I also talked about it last week. And Olympus is very strong financially and everything. And so I'm not going to repeat everything that I said already last week. So please go back and check my live stream last week. Although it's 2 hours long, so you may have to bear with. You may have a little bit of grab some snacks, grab some coffee, enjoy the 2 hours talk that I did last week. So hopefully that'll be it. Oh, Ray is here too. Hello, Ray. And Shane, hello. And John, Christian, Alberto. Wow, lots and lots of people joining me today. Excellent stuff. So today I have a slightly different setup. And originally, I was going to take you guys out in my back garden and have some fresh air. No, I have my fan on. I have my little USB fan on, blowing at me because it's pretty warm in here. And then and you can also see that I have a little antenna right here. So like, this is a wireless streaming setup that I have. Those of you who already seen my Facebook Live in the morning will have seen this setup already, because this morning the weather was actually pretty good. And so I took everybody out to my back garden this morning, but in the afternoon, rain started kicking. It's a little bit wet out there now, so I don't want to risk it. So I have to set up my wireless stream in here. So I have second cam, so you can see that I'm going to switch over to my second cam. Hello, I'm waving at my second cam right now, so that is pretty good, right? So let's go back to this one. Not much different, actually. I just want to show you that there is a wireless streaming going on. Okay, let's say hello, a few more people. Patrick, Randy, Morgan, Tang. Fantastic. Right. Okay, and okay, well, Rick Bear is doing that. Micro Four Thirds is already there. The funeral was last Wednesday, so we are going to talk about model car racing instead of photography. How do you know about model car racing? Are you reading my mind or something? I do like model cars, though. I do like remote control cars. Hello, Victor. Okay, right. I think we have enough people here, so we can maybe get the conversation going, shall we? I think this is the time now. Right. Okay. Just repeating myself, why I chose today's topic as Micro Four Thirds photographer. Let's start off with myself. I've been an experienced photographer who coming from the full frame world. Okay, when I first started photography, that's 20 years ago, I was using film SLR. So they're huge bees, big thing. And I digitized myself in 2005, brought my first Canon DSLR, the 5D, and then I continued my journey as a digital SLR photographer, so DSLR, and working in professional environment. So I started as becoming a professional travel and wedding photographer, and then move on, you know, to continue my journey for the last 15 years. So it's something that I'm not trying to repeat now because I've talked about it in the last few weeks. So what happened was, you know, I was so used to big and bulky gears, and also what I noticed is that when you go outside in the public areas, whether you're going to venues or events, weddings, anything like that, people assume that bigger means professional. So like it's very simple. You know, I don't really trying to blame everybody because that's how they used to see a professional photographer. You know, they're using big lenses, big camera. You know, that basically says that you guys are, you know, you guys are pro, you know, you use big stuff, you know, that must be something to shout about. So anything smaller always tells people that you are an amateur or you're just an inexperienced photographer or something. I actually got that kind of a skepticism, you know, right from the beginning when I moved from the Canon to even Leica, not even Micro Four Thirds, from Leica, because Leica was a quite slim body as well. It's a rangefinder camera. So when I turned up with a Leica in a wedding, you know, and people laughed at me, and I'm right, seriously, you might actually think that, oh no, you're joking, right? I did not. I'm just trying to tell you that, you know, people did laugh at me. I remember I very much remember there's one wedding that turned up with my Leica, and then one of the bridesmaids, yeah, quietly told the bride, saying, is that your wedding photographer there? And she obviously answered, yes. And he's using a point and shoot camera. Is he even a pro? You know, he's just a friend, is it? Is it? No, have you even seen his photo? His photo's cool. Like, well, okay, this is the comment that the bride actually told me, like after the wedding. And so this is the kind of general perceptions about public. You know, they think that anyone using a small camera of some sort, yeah, it doesn't mean anything about professional, because they don't really think about what matters, which is photography, which is the picture itself, not so much about what gear you use, as long as you capture the, you know, a creative and an artistic photos, right? So this is something I believe people need to re-educate themselves. But luckily, you know, when the mirrorless evolution comes in, you know, about 5-6 years ago, ever since our beloved Olympus invented the OMD EM5 Mark I, the very first one, that really transformed, really depopularized the whole mirrorless market. And that's the fact. You can Google around the EM5 Mark I, the original, was the revolution cameras that kind of boosted the entire mirrorless market, even though they already had EP1 and all the other older mirrorless camera around. But EM5 was a really significant camera, very much like the original Canon 5D that really boosted the DSLR market. So the EM5 really was that camera in the Micro Four Thirds world. In fact, the whole mirrorless things. And after that, what happened? You can see that all the other manufacturers jumping into the ball, you know, like the Sony getting into the A6000 series and all the others trying to jump into the mirrorless market. And of course, Sony has re-established themselves as a major player in the mirrorless market, especially in the APS-C and the full frame world. But you can see the significance there. You know, Olympus really did kick-started it. So I still wasn't really convinced. I did get the EM5, like I mentioned before. I was attracted by the look of the EM5. It was really cool, retro-looking. It just really awesome looking thing. Now, frankly, to be frank, you know, I have to admit it. You know, I bought the EM5 without knowing what it was. And that's true. I was in Hong Kong at the time. I came up from the MTR station in Central, and then I came out. I see this big giant billboard, and I saw this model holding the EM5, and that's what got me into the EM5. Just like that. I really want to swear that word, but that is a really damn good looking camera. And that was the rest was history. I went to the local camera store in Hong Kong. I just got the EM5. That was it, and I got hooked into it, and I actually realized how capable it was, even though it had a smaller sensor, but the 5-axis stabilization, the EVF, what you see, what you get kind of thing, you know, it really blew my mind. So this is something that I believe, you know, what transformed me as a photographer, and also opened my eyes at the same time, that something small and tiny can actually be something cool. And so then what happened? A few years down the line, I upgraded to EM5 Mark II, and eventually in 2016, I have switched officially from full frame to micro four third. So that was a journey, and in fact, I've never looked back. I've just thought that this, people can laugh at me what they want, but ultimately, I can still produce, if not better than before, because now I have 5-axis stabilizer. I can do live warp, live composite, all kinds of stuff, live ND with the M1X and M1 Mark III. These will help me create something that nobody else can at the moment without having accessories like tripods and other things. I can do that handheld, and that's something that people can't, imagine, without really trying it. And when I show my portfolio to other people, they're, oh, how did you achieve this? Or did you set up a tripod on the middle of the road or something? I said, no, this is live ND. Because, wow, really cool. I can see like the subject's standing right in the middle of the crowd and everybody's moving. I thought you were using ND filters and like long exposure with a tripod and things like that. I said, no, it's all handheld, all happened in 1 second. So they really couldn't believe me, and I actually set that up so quickly with Live ND. This is something that I have to say Olympus did a really grand job in producing this sort of computational photography that allow photographers, allow creative photographers to actually do their job really quickly and creatively. So and I'm never really going to be bothered what people are saying to me, like, oh, you are just using a micro four third, just tiny little sensor. And nope, I think that I'm really happy. At the end of the day, what I want to say is that let the pictures do the talking. Right? Let's see how you guys think about what I just said. I'm going to continue my talk, of course, and see how you feel about what I just said as well. And let's see if anybody else is here as well. John, hello. Hello, Anastas. And hello, Morgan. Randy, of course. All right, Randy had the original E500, which is a beast of a camera, and of course now you got the M1X. Actually feels about the same, right? In the E500 is very well built camera, and now the M1X. I don't think you're probably not too disfamiliar with the weight and size, because the E500 is quite a hefty camera, even though it's relatively compact, but it's quite heavy and solid. So I bet you enjoy M1X now, and. So let's see, and that's also a switcher coming from Nikon full frame. And you know what? Yeah, that's something that I believe a lot of people are really missing, and is how portability means to a lot of photographers. And this is not just for me, but I'm talking to a lot of I would say serious amateur to professional wildlife photographers and bird watchers. And they really raving about the micro four third system, not just Olympus, but actually the platform itself, how portable they are, the lenses compared to like full frame. You used to have to, like, seriously, you need a suitcase to carry one of those big long lenses, right? You need a separate tripod in some cases to hold the bloody lens itself. And this shows that, now you can shoot things handheld with a smaller body. What it can do to a lot of people, first of all, they may not have the budget to spend in full frame gears, and secondly, also to mobilize a lot of people who couldn't be possible before they have a smaller and lighter system. In a full frame, you really take a toll on the body, and especially if you go on trekking, you go into the mountain, you go into wildlife, like any sort of safari park and things like trying to do some wildlife stuff. Try to carry 25 kilos of camera gear to a safari. unless you're lucky enough, one of those people who are rich enough to hire a porter to help you carry those gear, or have a separate van just to carry your stuff. If you have to put in your backpack, trying to trek about like 15, 30, 40 miles to a location, wait for some wildlife. Imagine that scenarios. Would you be having a 25 kilo or just having like a 4 kilo bag? That's so much different. It makes so much difference that people don't really appreciate that they're in that situation. And people nowadays who talk about micro four third is dead, or micro four third is this and that. These are really the people who, first of all, totally understand photography. I'm not even saying micro four third. They don't understand photography, because ultimately what captures the photos, what captures the best photos in a particular situation is the best camera, regardless of format, right? You all agree that, I talked about full frame, I talked about APS-C, I talked about medium format. They all have their pros and cons. I wouldn't say there is a perfect camera or format for everybody across the board. No, there's no such thing. I'm not trying to purely promoting Micro Four Thirds, you know, just because I'm an ambassador for Olympus. I'm not just talking about this. I'm only saying, you know, people should appreciate photography in general. You know, like it's not about format size, it's not about megapixels, it's not about any of that. You know, is finding the right tool for you is the most important thing. And for me, I found it now. I found the Micro Four Thirds. It helps me on my filming stuff. It helped me for my vlogging, on my YouTube stuff now, and then and also my professional portraits and other thing. None of my clients who pay me that now I used to pay for my bills, so I'm a professional, would ever complain about any of the photos that I took for the last 10 years. You know, and so whatever system I use, it doesn't really matter. You know, but finally, I think that I appreciate it, and I found that this is the solution for me. And then I'm now happy, and my back especially, and my back is so happy now, especially in a full-day wedding shoot. I'm no longer screaming that, oh God, I need to sit down or something like that. No, not really anymore, which is a big, big help. And okay, let's see. And Robin Hill, I think you just repeated what I said exactly, and that's very good there, thank you. And I don't about this statement because I had the EM10 external flash, couple of nice lenses, and wow, this is a nice camera. Are you a photographer? Well, the EM10 obviously has the retro looking. That's always kind of be quite nice, and people will compliment it. This is a fact as well. But what I'm trying to say that, you know, in today's topic is that a lot of people who are, let's say, full frame fanboys or APS-C fanboys, medium format fanboys, high resolution fanboys. I'm talking about fanboys here, and they always trying to talk down on Micro Four Thirds, and they say you can't shoot ISO 2 millions, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you can't do this. But you know, they have all sorts of excuses to tell you that you are just not good enough as a photographer because you're using a Micro Four Thirds system. And then, and frankly, I care less about it. And like I mentioned, you know, I got laughed at weddings and for using a smaller cameras, and not just once, in the multiple situation when I was using a Pen F. For instance, I was at another wedding using a Pen F just to snap around some candid moments, and people also said something that, you know, even though it's a nice looking camera, but they were wondering whether I was actually a pro. And so it's this sort of negative or insufficient image that Micro Four Thirds has projected to general public just because of the size alone is really beyond me. But what I'm saying that, you know, you, me, myself, everybody who in the Micro Four Thirds world should be proud of what they can do with the system. And this is exactly what I want to say, because we are all one big creative family here. You know, how many times when I see shots on that people are taking with the Micro Four Thirds, especially those who can utilize the features to its maximum, such as live bulb, light composite, who do light painting stuff, you know, light trail, and astrophotography now, especially with the Starry Sky AF, other things like wildlife that, you know, that with the 300mm 2x converter, you know, all this stuff really amazes me. How many times I see bird photography in Facebook group now? It's just these amazing moments they use to pro capture to do things like this. These are cool stuff. I mean, I don't see that many in other photography platforms and formats. Not as much. I mean, they do happen, but not as much. But they have to set up like infrared and also like radio triggers and things like that. They need a lot of accessory to accompany to create those shots. But in a lot of cases, Micro Four Thirds are all handheld, and you know, it's really simple. Well, kind of simple, but you know, you do need the patience and things and skill sets to make sure that you know exactly what you do with your camera, of course. But ultimately, Olympus actually do give you certain features that allow you to do those type of shots with a lot of with ease, you know, so it's not too difficult compared to the old days. Like, let's say, you know, if you're doing some general, if you're just not, and I'm not a, let's say, okay, using me as an example now, let's say I don't do firework photography, I don't, you know, but occasionally I quite like it, especially when I take my kids out for bonfire nights and things like that. All I need to do is I didn't need a tripod, I put it on a tripod, but all I need just to have a light bulb, or maybe just live composite, just, you know, these things, It's amazing. I couldn't possibly do it with my old DSLR, for instance, and without having a lot of skills. You know exactly what the exposure is right. You know, there's a lot of try and error there. The learning process is steep, and it's definitely not easy. If you want to do ultra long exposure shot, capturing multiple fireworks, for instance, you have to use the black card in front of the lenses. I don't know if any of you are actually familiar with it. You have to put the black card in front of the lens to reduce the exposure, and otherwise you're overexposing everything. So these are things people don't understand if they haven't been through the old time, or do that sort of thing. But now, with an Olympus or any Micro Four Third, you can do a lot of the stuff that previously not possible or very, very difficult to achieve with a couple of buttons. And this is something I really think that was really, really cool. And John, you're saying that my cap says light. You know what this is? This actually says Duiko. You know what Duiko means? Let me type out the words here so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, right, okay. You see this word? This is what what my hat actually says. So that's the name of the lenses that you see on the on the Olympus, and Zuiko is 最光, and so in Japanese, and means, yes, golden light or god of light together. So yeah, you know, it's a quite symbolic thing. So I think it's a quite cool merchandise. By the way, if any of you are in the UK, I'm not entirely sure whether the US is available, but in the UK, all the official Olympus merchandise is now on sale until this Sunday, Father's Day, of course. And you get 20% off. So you can go to the Olympus website, go for the merchandise department, and you can find all sorts of merchandise, including this cap, flasks, and little pin and things like that. You know, I love them all. So yeah, you can get them for 20% off. Really, really cool stuff there. And I think they may be able to ship to the States now, so check that out. You know, go to the UK shop, yeah, UK Olympus shop. So I think it's shop.olympus.co.uk, something like that. I'll put the link in the description after the live stream, so you can go and check it out. And so, how did you fold a 9 to 18 lens? Tried it myself. Magnificent picture in small size. I pitied the lens no longer of the same type. For example, folding. When you say folding, are you saying means like collapse? Oh, you mean like collapsing kind of thing, like the zoom lens? Yeah, I guess the 9 to 18 is a very, very compact lens, and which a lot of people, it's got a fan base, that particular lens. I know a lot of people like that lens. And okay, back in the days, large format film dudes said that the photography is dead, and now the 35mm cameras. And frankly, I mean, you see it, like, formats still exist and people still talk about them. That you just be depending which one is slightly popular than the others. I mean, like they all still there. I guess the only film format that kind of disappear is like 1:7, you know, those stuff, because 1:7 is too close to 1:20. To be honest, it's more like a consolidation. But like, let's say 135, 120, and even larger format, it's got significant difference in negative sizes. So that's why they all exist for their own benefits. Similarly, in digital world, I think that's why I actually said that last week. Each format still has its own place. Micro Four Third, APS-C, kind of full frame, and medium format would have their own places, and people would make use of all these different formats for different jobs. For instance, Micro Four Third definitely has its own benefit, which already kind of covered very comprehensively, and obviously full frame has its own benefit. Also medium format as well, if you need the big, like bigger megapixels and all the tonalities that you require for a certain type of shoot, then medium format, maybe larger format, would be the way to go. But other than that, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, because I see that a lot of the time. And wow, that is cool. Let's see Randy stuff. You got 1.7 million views for your photos on Google Map. Woo! You're the man. Alan Pat, 80% of the most pro and amateur Olympus or Micro Four Third shooters are happy and know what is what with the system, and it's the others that needs to be educated, not exactly. That is exactly my point, Alan. I think you got it right there. People just simply, either they haven't even used the Micro Four to appreciate it, or they simply just believe in what other YouTubers and other so-called reviewers talk about. Because don't forget, a lot of the YouTubers, okay, I'm not trying to name anybody. I'm not trying to really talk names here or trying to really talk down on anybody. I respect everybody. Like I said, you know, I respect them as a human being. We all have the freedom of speech, of course. We can say anything we want. But ultimately, I think that some of the YouTubers, they are not really a photographer at all. They're not. You know, if you look at their photos, look at their Instagram, look at their portfolio, they can't possibly take good photographs, but they are talking about cameras, so I really don't think they understand the actual use of it. Most of the time they're just mirroring or copying what other people have said already, and it's just like a viral wave kind of thing, you know, just kind of something they just ripple, you know, that these are people repeating what other people have said already, trying to get some sort of views and some of the likes in the videos and stuff like that. So of course, you know, in this channel here, and myself in particular, I rarely talk about things like that, and I really try to use my own experience to show you that you know, you can do things with the Micro Four Thirds system. I mean, if there's something that I can't do nicely or good enough, I will tell you in advance, saying that I'm just not a macro photographer. I can't do bucks, I can't do close up. I'm not a bird photographer and things like that. You know, what I'm good at is with people and documentary stuff. This is what I am, and then so these things I can always utilize and tell you like what the camera and lenses can do with this sort of scenarios, and you can make your own judgment whether this is a suitable system or lenses or equipment that you want, or something that you want. Okay, and Rayleigh already said, yes, pictures speak for themselves, and like I mentioned so many times, that really doesn't really matter what camera you use, and if it's a great picture, it's a great picture, full stop. You know, like I also mentioned that, you know, if you go to a lot of the competitions and other big open talks, you ask a lot of photographers, judge panels and all the big people out there, they rarely talk about, you know, what camera you use to shoot a particular photograph. They just actually trying to analyze, you know, how did you take that photo, in terms of what caused you, in terms of like thinking behind the camera, and how did you compose a shot, you know, like what makes you take this shot, you know, in terms of composition, why did you place the subject there, why did you do this and that. They're more curious about that. They rarely kind of go back and ask you, excuse me, sir, what camera do you use? How many megapixels did you do this one? Did you crop any photos, or did you use a 24 to 70 f2.8 lens, or did you use ISO 500 to do this shot? They rarely talk about any of this stuff, didn't they? They never ever really ask you about that. They really just try to read the photograph and trying to understand and appreciate what you're trying to say in the photograph. And so that is exactly why a lot of people just simply don't appreciate photography, or they don't know how to appreciate photography. And something that me trying to promote this to many people over the years, and to trying to teach people really, you know, before they press the shutter button, think about everything you do, and then try to make sure that you compose and create a really good photograph, not by bulk, not by quantity, but by quality. You know, making sure that you take the right shots at the right time, rather than snapping a whole series of shots and choose the best one out. I know in certain instances it may not be possible, such as let's say sports photography, because it's such a fast action shots. That's why this burst mode, this fast action burst modes, are usually used for sports and fast moving objects. But for stationary shots like portraits and stuff like that, you don't really need a burst shooting. You really don't, you know. And so in that case, you can take your time. You know, landscape, you can take your time. Travel, you can take your time. You know, these things that, you know, don't overshoot, because otherwise you're going to create more work than you really need when you come back home, and you just end up with like 3,000-4,000 photos after holiday, and you have to go through all the raw photos in Lightroom or something, and then you're going to spend hours and hours trying to pick one that you really like. In that case, why don't you just slow down? You know, just kind of drag back into the olden time when we're used to carry just about 10 rolls of film to a holiday. So you only end up with like 300 odd photos to choose from. It's way better than having 3,000, right? It's definitely way better. And to be frank, a lot of the time, don't you find that? Okay, disagree if you like. If you go like after a holiday, how many photos do you think you can post online that you would call great? Tell me if you can get more than 100. Yeah, I bet a lot of people don't have 100 photographs to show people, or just to call it a masterpiece back from a holiday. You know, like if I go on holiday, I would probably choose about 3 or 4 shots maximum from a holiday. I mean, the others are really for myself to keep it as a momentum, as a memento, you know, some memory thing for my family and kids and things like that, or just places that I've been. But things that I would call it with some sort of artistic values, some sort of documentary values, is only a handful of them in my kind of a folder for that particular trip. So, and I see that very similarly for all the people out there, you know, and they often obviously put the title and description on the photos, and I can see that they take it from the holiday, something like that. They have 1 or 2 shots here and there. So exactly, that is. People always have choose 1 or 2 shots, maybe 5 or 6 shots here from a holiday to showcase to people, to want to share with people, but they rarely share the 3,000. So that means you're wasting a lot of time really trying to compose a lot of stuff or just burst shooting a lot of stuff that is totally unnecessary. This is another thing that I always promote to people. Just take your time, slow down. You know, you got your gear, it's digital, it's free, I know, but your time's not free though. You just have to remember that. So you're using a lot of time trying to do something that may really eventually consume a lot of your own spare time when you go back home, and you might be as well just trying to find a few photos that you like and spend those time in mastering those shots and do all the post-productions, editing and things like that. Make sure those are really, really great stuff you can print, hang on the wall and be proud of. I think that is better than anything else. And Brad, and hello Brad, and is a beauty, absolutely, is a beauty indeed. Okay, let's see. Hart, hello Hart, and you're coming from 450D, dragged into the EP3 by a friend and stuck till now and happy. Yep, you don't try, you don't get. Once you're in, you can get out. Well, I'm not saying that, you know, but like the thing is, you know, I've been in the industry for long enough now. I've used different gears. I have used all kinds of different cameras, and frankly, you know, they all have their goods and bads, to be honest. You know, I wouldn't say Canon is shit. You know, I would never say that. Canon's great cameras, you know, they're really good. But it's just not for me now, especially in terms of size and bulk. And for the type of stuff that I do nowadays, that I have to go travel a lot. I have to go into locations, shoot a lot. If I need to carry 2 to 3 cameras, you know, I'd rather carry 2 or 3 Micro Four Thirds cameras than 2 or 3 full frame cameras, because of the size alone. It's just like ridiculous. And the lenses, remember the lenses, yeah, not just the body, yeah, the lenses are huge. And in most cases I use a lot of the pro lenses like the 1.2 or 2.8 zoom lenses in the full frame world, so they are easily double the size and weight compared to the Micro Four Thirds equivalents. So I'd rather not to do that. It's just really killing my body. And I'm not 25 anymore, you know, it's definitely not, so it's really difficult for me. And Antonio, and I've been an Olympus user since I got an Olympus E20. Ooh, oh, I think I know which one that is. Oh my God, wow, one of those stuff, yes. And still with Olympus, I love it. The Pro lens is second, and almost nothing else in the system. Absolutely, I think the Olympus Pro lenses are definitely cool, definitely really fantastic. And I think I saw Camu's names. Hello, Camus. And I see a few regulars here, which is awesome. I love you guys. And so I always have to say hi when I see your name. So I'm scrolling through the thing at the moment. Let me just pop one photo out at the moment. So like, do you like this photo? I just captured it the other day, just when I was strolling around the park with my kids. And because during lockdown, I rarely take any photos. And so I was so like my hands got so itchy trying to get something. So I walk out with my EM1 Mark III, the 40 to 150 and the 1.4 converter. So I just ran around trying to snap something and found this little bird there, and I just found it's really cool. And this shows that the quality is definitely there. Okay, let's see, and put it right here. Let me see, read out other comments here. So 4 years ago, I went to Thailand for a couple of months. I had the original EM1 and the lone EM5 Mark II. At the end of the day, 70% byte was with the EM5 Mark II. Why is that? Why is that, Anastas? Let me know. And the EM1 was actually a pretty awesome camera, and because it's got. The EM1 was the very first one to have hybrid AF, even though the focusing point was not as many, you know, as the Mark II, for instance, but it has hybrid AF, which allow you to use the older DSLR 4/3 lenses with the adapter, which is actually pretty good. Lovely coffee, so strong. I need that. I hope you all have a nice coffee ready. And okay, let's see. I had all the time 70. Oh wow, you're shooting with a long lens, 75 1.8, and it is a really cool stuff, and it does isolate people a lot, and it doesn't need a sharp lens. It's a really sharp lens, right? The 75 is too sharp to my eyes, but it is sharp. And you wanted a pen series years ago, eventually ended up with the EM5 Mark II. Yeah, I mean, I have to admit that I'm quite fortunate because now I'm an ambassador, so I do have access to all the Olympus cameras I have, you know, so I have the Pen F, I have the EM5, I have the EM1, even the EM10, the EPL series, and I have access to all of them, which is actually pretty cool. But if I have to choose, yeah, if I have to choose, I think I'll probably, oh shit now I put myself on the spot. What I'm gonna do now? I can't say it. I do like them more, to be honest. I would probably use the oh shit, Pen F is still my favorite film photography camera. Pen F is still my camera. I still love this guy here. It's just the way I like it, how to shoot with it, how to handle it. I just love it, and all the dials and things are just in the right places on my arms, and it's just good. But for work now these days, especially I produce videos a lot, and the Pen F definitely can't satisfy me in terms of video capabilities, so I would have to settle with the EM1 Mark III. That would be, if I have to choose one, that would be my camera. I love my EM1X, which assuming using right now, I do love it, but because EM1 is still kind of stand for what Micro Four Thirds is supposed to be, which is more light and portable and rugged at the same time for professionals. So I think the EM1 Mark III is definitely one that I will pick for both work and leisure. But if it's just one photograph, so one camera just to photograph on the street, go travel and things like that, if I don't have to work, Pen F, definitely Pen F. I love it. So, and let's see. Hello, Don, and ooh, quite a few of you guys using EM5 Mark II. Oh, by the way, you know that poll that I did a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you guys heard me saying that last week. Is that the poll came back? I think the EM5, so EM1 Mark II and the Pen F tie the score, because more people voted afterward, and it's fun to see the figures there. So Pen F and EM1 Mark II are equal in terms of popularity. So that means they're both joined first place. Yes, yes. Okay, Marsha, hello, good morning. Hello there. And from Florida, have you got nice weather there? UK is terrible today. This morning we got sun, but now it's raining, so it's not very good there. Hello, Victor from Slovenia. Hi, I'm trying to say hi to everybody, so please bear with me. It's going to be a little bit long. And hello, Dang. You use a Lumix G5. Lovely camera. And sorry, I can't pronounce your name. And I would like to call you by name, but unfortunately I don't think I can read that. But anyway, I switched from Canon 6D, previously traveled by car, and now a motorcycle and bicycle, and the weight of the Canon starts becoming simply unbearable. And I think this is a common theme that a lot of the content creators and photographers out there are experiencing. And not sure many of you actually heard about it or know about it, is that in the last month and a half, I would say, a month and a half, I noticed a lot of the famous YouTubers and other content creators are now using Olympus EM1 Mark III. Right, they switch from Sony, in some cases switch from Canon, and for their content creation. There are a few reasons that they're all saying exactly the same thing, is that because the EM1 Mark III has a fantastic autofocus and facial and eye detection for videos. That means they can make YouTube videos a lot easier. Not only that, because Canon and Sony can do that as well, but the thing is, there's a size difference here, because the Micro Four Thirds gears and lenses are way smaller by comparison, let's say, to Sony's A7 series or even A6000 series, the APS-C cameras, and also Canon. They're all much smaller in terms of lens sizes. So now you can vlog, you can travel without having to bear the weight or to do anything else. And so, which is actually very good, I think. And ooh, I was switching angle there. I was quite happy and excited. Well, while that camera is on, I might as well try to utilize it, right? Even though I can't go onto the garden. And okay, hello, David from Virginia. Absolutely. And Benny. as a beginner in Micro Four Thirds system, still curious how to shoot astrophotography with the Pen F. Right, guys, you can help Benny out, I think, and there are lots of useful resources online. You can actually learn about how to take astrophotography. One thing I can tell you just straight away without telling you a lot of the technical setting is that the Olympus sensor is very sensitive to certain light spectrums, which is normally not visible to eyes. In that case, it's actually more sensitive to capture a lot of the stars and like Milky Way and things like that, way better than any other system. Right, I am not talking shit, I'm telling you, because I met a professor. Yes, you heard that right, yeah? I met a professor last year in the photography show in the UK, and he studied all the sensor types, and he does a lot of astrophotography stuff himself, and he told me that the reason he chose my Olympus system to do his astrophotography work is because the Olympus sensor is special. It sees more lights than any other sensor he experienced in the market. He tested it all. You know, he's actually not poor. He's quite rich, so he can afford to buy all the other system. But he chose Olympus because the sensor sees more stuff compared to other stuff. That means that you can create higher quality astro stuff. You want to see like more colors and more stars in the skies. And Olympus, he said to me, that is the best system to use if you do a lot of astrophotography stuff. And that's what he said to me. So I'm using him to quote me, and then so you just have to believe him, not me. Because I don't do a lot of astro stuff. I would like to try it though. When the sky finally clears up in the UK, I'll probably try to do the starry sky stuff with the EM1 Mark III. But yeah, astro is really fun, right? I mean, I would like to try, but I haven't got much opportunity to do it, so that I'm not the best person to ask. But I'm pretty sure some of you guys here are definitely capable of answering Benny's question, and hopefully someone will give him some guidance on doing some astrophotography stuff. So Nelson, I have both Panasonic and Olympus camera and lenses for years. I enjoy taking photos with Micro Four Thirds. Micro Four Thirds is not dead. Of course it's not dead. Of course, yes. We all support each other, right? We are a strong community here. And as long as demand's here, you know, I don't think they're going anywhere. And in fact, you know, Olympus already said, you know, they're not going anywhere, you know, but a year ago when everybody said the Micro Four Thirds is going to die, and Olympus said, are we fully committed? In fact, if I listen to what I said last week, also to my other YouTube videos I did a year ago, I talked about Olympus that saying in brief that they don't rely on the imaging department, which is the department who is responsible for like all the lenses and camera that we use now. The image department only use it as an R&D, well, not only, but they use it as a R&D for the medical stuff in the actual Olympus empire, because what they make majority of the money is through medical. So they have the therapeutic and also all the endoscope businesses that absolute like making mega bucks from hospitals and stuff like that. So the imaging department really is an R&D for the lenses and optics that they use in those instruments, and it's as a byproduct, we are just enjoying, you know, whatever they see in those optical designs and stuff like that. So yeah, I just simply think that it's pretty cool, right? XB, hello. You're new. I'm new on photo, and I have chosen the Micro Four Thirds for travel and Olympus OMD Mark II for 5 Mark II for weather seal. I think for me it's the best traveler. You are dead on there, because I love the EM5 Mark II. And just to show you something that I shot with the EM5 Mark II, that you kind of would gather what is said here. You know, things like this, you know, very simple, nothing special, but it's way more than enough now for do what you could. I do a lot of street stuff with the EM5, and also maybe, oops, I'm trying to work out which one is which. You know, it's a fantastic little system because it's so tiny and small. It's very unobtrusive. You know, if you do a lot of street stuff, the people are not too scared that you're pointing the lens to them, because the lenses are quite small, right? And it also looks very retro. You know, it kind of gives you that nostalgic look in you as well. And so they're less scarier than you're holding a big A7 camera with a big 1.2 or 2.8 lenses. They're just definitely having that benefit there. And also, like you said, traveling with a lightweight system is definitely better if you go around like shooting people, shooting other places. You're less likely to get into trouble. And things like this, you know, you can definitely do with ease around town. And the color, just look at those color from Olympus camera. It's just magnificent, right? And one of the things that I think Olympus or underrated, or people not mentioning that a lot, is the color science of Olympus. Okay, it's something is very subjective, of course, but in my experience, from what my preference is for shooting a lot of people, like skin tones and stuff like that, there are only a handful of company manufacturers out there are capable of producing a very natural looking colors. First of all, is Canon. That's why I chose Canon in the first place, because they do have a very good colors to base on. And I've tried Sony, which is horrible skin tones. I have tried Panasonic. So forgive me, Panasonic users there, if you're right here. And I love you guys too. You know, I love some of the Panasonic lenses, and the gears are really cool, especially the video size, really fantastic. But I can't get used to the skin colors. And then Fuji guys, and I love the film simulation. You know, it's very quirky, you know, very nostalgic, you can call it. But again, the skin tone is still trying. I don't know what Fujifilm is trying to do. You know, Fuji is still trying to do using their own film magic, so it's still very Fuji-like. You know, I don't know what other words I can use to describe Fuji images. They are very Fuji-like, so they always got that green tone in it, which is very hard to get rid of. So it's always there. But if you like that look, like I said, it's subjective. You know, and the Fujifilm's color is probably for you as well. But for me, I like to have the very general, very natural looking colors. So after Canon, Olympus is by far the closest to the most natural looking imagery, you know, compared to all the other camera manufacturers out there. So that's why I chose Olympus. You know, on the Micro Four Thirds. I was debating whether to go for Panasonic or Olympus at the time. And but I eventually chose Olympus after trying a few Panasonic cameras, and I can't get used to the skin tone. So it's something only me. I mean, I prefer that. So like, obviously everybody got their own preferences. I do like the colors that are just really just punchy, you know, just nice. And I can work on it. I can work on it if I want to bring it up a little bit more, if I want to boost it a little bit more. And it's there. It's there for me. As long as I have a good base, I don't have to tweak a lot of stuff, and then I can just work on the photo, and that means it saves myself a lot of the work, especially I shoot people a lot. And having good skin tone base is always a bonus, because I just dive right into it and work on the photo straight away after a photo shoot. I don't have to tweak this, tweak that, and apply certain presets just to fix something. I don't have to do any of that, you know, and I hate doing that because it takes time. Imagine you go for a photo shoot, you know, a different location, gives different lighting condition, and it changes all the tints and all the things like that. And I really hate correcting all those stuff. And somehow Olympus came out really good. Right. Okay. I'll leave that there. It's quite nice to look at. So let's see. And YouTube educated full-frame fanboys is much of the problem. Grows a lot of trolls too, and guess someone who don't watch such stuff, and there's much less bias. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what sells, right, at the moment. And this is a really kind of, to me, is a little bit unfortunate. I know that they don't mean any harm, and they're all ambitious YouTubers trying to get attentions and everything like that. And who doesn't? You know, if I want to grow up on YouTube, I want to get attention, I want to grow the channel bigger. I would try to use some tactics trying to get people to view what everybody else does the same thing. But to do it in such a biased or unprofessional way is something that I would try to avoid, to be quite honest, at all costs. Because ultimately, you know, like I'm a professional. I have certain standard to keep. That's a very frank way of putting it. And I don't like to misinform people saying that this is the best, this is coolest, whatever. You know, like, you know, I use Olympus. Like I said, you know, I don't want to talk down on any other brands or any other formats. I appreciate all of them. They're all great cameras, great manufacturers out there. We all have purpose. So like, it's just the way I prefer to use Micro Four Thirds, and Olympus is somehow that, like I mentioned, I like the colors and all the handling and stuff like that. So this is my preferred way of shooting it. If you are on the same boat, of course you appreciate what I said, and then and ultimately that, you know, I do want to promote photography as an art form, as something that you all appreciate. And ultimately, when we do meet together in the face-to-face in the future, if I do organize photo walk, and then we can talk photography, and then we can just appreciate, you know, techniques. We can appreciate things that we do together and have fun, have a beer, talk about, you know, a certain scene, certain timing, you know, all kind of stuff, you know, less so by the means of, you know, just about formats and technical aspects, you know, megapixels, you know, how much ISO I can do, that kind of crap, you know, that I care less, to be quite honest. And George, full frame manufacturers always include an option for smaller donkey. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Speaking of which, you guys must have heard of it. Canon has developing this big giant lens. You know, this supposedly to combat all these micro four thirds lenses by introducing, what was it, the 800 millimeters f11 lens or something, and to try to keep the size down. But I don't see the logic there. I can understand. I can see why they may want to do that. But for a lot of consumer, you know, you can imagine. So if you're having a full frame mirrorless camera, you want to get that reach, yeah, for the long reach here. In micro four thirds, we could use, you know, all these big lenses. You know, when I say big lenses, still not as big as the full frame lenses. Yeah, the Panasonic 100 to 400 lenses, or something like that, is a really good lens. The Olympus 300 millimeters f4 is really also a good lens. Slap in a 2x converter, becomes 600 millimeters. So in full frame, it's 1,200 millimeters, and still it's only f8. So like you're having a f11 lens for Canon, trying to reduce the size, because your full frame can shoot high ISO in a slightly cleaner format or fashion. But it really kind of defies the purpose. So why would you do that? You might as well just shoot with a smaller system in the first place in that case. So I think they are confusing themselves now. They are starting to realize a lot of consumers don't buy that marketing term saying mirrorless is smaller, because that's how they initially started marketing all those mirrorless cameras, like the Canon EOS R, the Nikon Z, and things like that. They're all saying mirrorless is smaller. You look at the size of the body, slimmer and smaller and lighter and everything. But then people buy the system and they all realize that the lenses are, well, as big, if not bigger, than the DSLR offerings, and so people got confused. They're like, "Oh, I'm buying a mirrorless camera from Canon and Nikon. Why are the lenses still big?" They thought they would be smaller, but no. Ultimately, these are the people who don't really quite understand exactly what's going on. You still, because of the sensor is such a it's a certain size, you need the back element of the lens has to be certain size to cover that area of the sensor. So the lens will still have to be a certain size to compensate. So like in that case, the only way to reduce the size and weight of system is to use a smaller format, and that's the only way to do it. And but obviously, you know, they're now seeing, you know, there is an argument there why, you know, people now kind of getting a bit confused, and some of them are even moving away from full frame because they're just too big and bulky, not just expensive, but they're just big and bulky. So now they're moving to smaller system, so whether it's going to be APS-C or micro four thirds, you know, and yeah, I guess people, if without trying it, you know, they may never really appreciate. And I think that's once again trying to reiterate, you know, trying is the best way to find out whether a system is suitable for you or not. Let's see what other people. Hello, Camille. And we'll never die. 8 kilo limits on most airlines in Europe. 16 flights, 7 weeks. Every time we're thankful for the micro four thirds system. You're on a similar boat, Camille. Right. And Rick Bear, is not so long ago that the 2 1/4 boy laughed at 2 1/4. Before that, they were mocking medium format and pro, and I love micro four, even though I shoot enormous studio cameras. Yeah, and to be honest, like I said, you know, like a lot, like yourself, you just shoot in the studio a lot. You probably use a medium format and other bigger system. But when you're out and about, when you just really trying to enjoy yourself as a photographer, go out and shoot something on the street or while traveling, you really appreciate smaller system, right? You know, like especially when you think about what sort of thing you use it for, most likely you're gonna like either do digital prints or like share on social media and something like that, or just print something on an album. You don't really need those high megapixel medium format stuff to do it. I mean, the time when you use my medium format, really, the commercial stuff, you want to blow it big, and so that is something, right? You know, and to me, I just think that micro four thirds really stand for something right here. And hello, Dane. I hope I'm kind of pronounced your name correctly. So I use my DSLR for work and micro four thirds for casual use or as a backup camera. Micro four thirds is fun because I have to delicately use my delicately. I like the word delicately. Yeah, well, DSLR can be quite rugged, you know, depends what sort of model you use, but I have to say some of the Olympus cameras are definitely rugged, especially like the EM1 series. You know, like I mentioned, my EM1 Mark II was completely battered, but I dropped it on the floor a few times and it's got bumps and knocks everywhere, and it really never failed me once, even after all those stuff. And I shot that with about 200,000 actuations now on that particular camera. It's still fine. Absolutely fine. And this EM1X that I'm using that now is actually dropped once. It's got a big scar on the side. It still works. And so, of course, the weather sealing, right? The weather sealing from Olympus is just fantastic. It's just unbelievably good. You can really shoot in all sorts of situations. And I have to say, the ultrasonic kind of thing, you know, I don't know, I forgot the name of it, the official name for it. Sorry, sorry Olympus, if you're hearing this, I completely forgot about the term. You know, the sensor, the sensor when it's trying to shake out all the dust and moist stuff on the EM1X and the EM1 Mark III. It's fantastic. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, if you guys from the DSLR era, if you use these cameras in a very dusty environment, you ought to have something stuck in your sensor. Time and time again, you find this little dot in the sensor, and it's just horrible. And you have to do sensor clean so many times in a year. That just annoy me. I used to do that myself with my 5D. I just have to clean my sensor every 2 months because I change my lens out in the public, almost like every shoot that I go to. So it's annoying, right? It's got this dust particle just stuck to the lenses, I mean the sensor itself, which is really, really horrible. But the Micro Four Thirds really never happened to me. And even though I know the EM1X and the EM1 Mark III and the EM5, I think the EM5 3 has the same system and the same coating. But even in the older generation, the EM5 Mark 1 and 2, they all have this shaky system as well. And I never had problem with dust. And that's a fact. You know, I changed lenses a lot out in the public. It never ever had any problem with it, and the EM1X is just fantastic. I mean, I changed it in really stormy situation, and then the sensor was fine, and there's no problem with it, which is actually really great. The trick is, please remember to switch off your camera when you change the lens, and because you really want to enable that shaky thing after you change the lens. So after you change the lens, when it's sealed up again, turn it on so that the sensor can shake off all the unwanted elements on the sensor. So that's the trick using it. Rather than you have it on all the time when you're changing lens, that's not the way to do it. You make sure you switch it off, change the lens, and switch it back on. And okay, let's see. Patrick, hello there. All my photographer friends have Canon full frames, and anything less is a toy to them. That's a common mistake, and that's exactly why I made today's topic. Is that you know, we have no problem being a Micro Four Thirds photographer. We are all creatives here, and in fact, we are just simply photographers who just enjoy using Micro Four Thirds gear. Let's put it that way. I don't think anything is a toy. I never consider anything is a toy. And you know, if you get your job done, it's a good tool, right? You know, whether it's going to be a bigger hammer or smaller hammer, as long as I can put the nail into the wood, that's a good hammer. And of course, you know, they have specific uses, and like I mentioned so many times now, but you know, this is exactly what I'm talking about, you know, and this is what us Micro Four Thirds photographers and creators have to endure over the years. These bigger, so-called bigger boys trying to talk down on us, be just using a smaller system. But I don't think we should be labeled or named like this. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, like I said, I always said to people, like, show me a picture. That's the picture, do the talking. Shin, when you need any strobe for portrait session with Leica camera, what brand would you choose for? Ooh, that's a slightly different question there. I use any sort of strobes, to be honest, and I mean, I use a wireless system, so I use either, oh, I forgot, I lost the brand now. I used to use a different system there. Pocket Wizard is a wireless system that I use. And also use another wireless system called Cactus. It's actually pretty cool because you can use multiple different speed lights with that particular system. And also ProPhoto, you know, it could be anything that that would be in my studio. And in fact, I haven't used strobe for a long time now, and because now I shoot a lot of stuff with LED now, and which is you know, just easier for me, and as a matter of fact, I just find it easier to handle. But in, let's say if I want to suppress the sun in bright daylight, I still want to use a strobe, because strobe is still stronger than LED for sure, so I'll still use that. Yeah, I guess any studio strobe, but in terms of the system that I use, usually I use a wireless system, either gotta be Pocket Wizard or Cactus. You can Google it, Cactus V6 I think, or V8 now, I can't remember exactly. I'm a bit old school now. V6 was quite old, I think it's about 4 years old now. John B was half right. Hart also say live com, lifetime, live bulb. Yeah, these are fabulous stuff. Nelson, I was humiliated by one of my friends making jokes on Micro Four Third was a toy, and Micro Four Third is not a camera, blah blah blah. After years, as Jimmy stated in the video, Nikon Canon making mirrorless camera now. Yeah, exactly, and you got that right there. Oh, just copying. Yeah, I mean, if you say that, you know, Canon and Nikon and Sony, they're all copying Olympus and stuff like that. Micro Four Third, Panasonic and Olympus, we are actually the mirrorless king. We invented Ibis, you know, we remember that, we invented Ibis. Olympus actually did hold the patent for it. So this says something, right? Now everybody has Ibis. Okay, nice cap. Oh my god, OMD. I'm thinking of something in Czech market. Oh yeah, in the Czech market. Yes, they in the Olympus Czech, yeah, they have the OMG OMD t-shirts and merchandise. Fantastic. I met the Czech Olympus representatives last year in the EM5 launch event. And it was so lovely, those bunch of people, really good. They have the OMG OMD thing on, and I loved it. I said, like, can you send me something? And I have to email them to ask them to send me some OMG OMD t-shirts. I think it's really, really cool. If you haven't seen the vlog that I did for the EM5 Mark III launch, I can put the link in my description later on, and you can see that that particular vlog that I did on the EM5 launch in Kitzbühel, in Germany, in Austria. So I met all these people from different European Olympus offices. So I did see exactly where I saw the OMG OMD t-shirt and merchandise. Really, really fun. Marsha, people who put down Micro Four Third put down others for the same reason. It's a behavioral issue. They believe it gives them power over you. Yeah, we call ourselves human, right? Right, and Rick Bear, and wasn't it David Bailey who was the first big champion of 35mm when other professional photographers still said it was a toy? I don't think it was David Bailey. In fact, it was I think it was Henri Gauthier-Bresson. He was one of the guys who popularized 35mm full stop. One of the first ones who used a portable system out on the street and doing all kinds of documentary stuff. And it just, to a lot of people, you know, who in that time is still using large format camera and medium format cameras, and he chose to use a 35mm for portability, which is the exact reason what we're doing with the Micro Four Third. This is something it's really, really interesting to learn. But David Bailey did talk about the same thing, and especially at the time, still a lot of commercial photographers still using 120, for instance. All the Hasselblads were the main commercial stuff. If you want to make money, you're going to use a Hasselblad. So I guess this, you know, that's the time that when he was in. But he loves 35mm, like you said. He really did love Micro Four Third. Sorry, not Micro Four Third. I mean 35mm. And Ray said, don't think there's too much of a misconception about different formats being so close to change. It's never a good thing. Like you said, use the best tool for the specific jobs. Correct, Ray, absolutely right. By the way, Ray's my good friend, all the way from back in the uni days, and then he's a fantastic photographer himself. He does a lot of instant stuff and analog stuff now. So give him a cheers, and then yeah, he's a really great guy, and I know him for so many years now. We kind of grow old together, right? I think we kind of grow old together. Okay, I'm searching a mic for my Olympus. Doesn't have a mic jack. Any recommendation? So, what camera do you have, though, David? I'm not entirely sure what options you have. And for anything that doesn't have a mic jack, you can use any mic. Well, you can use a recorder, something like this, the Olympus. Yes, Olympus LSP4 recorder. You can use a recorder to record your voice separately and sync the voice in post-production in a video program. It's very easy these days. I think most of the video program that you can buy or download these days will have some sort of auto sync capabilities. So it will basically use the camera recorded audio file and try to match and sync the same notes and tone with the one that you have with the proper mic, and so that you can choose which channel you want to use. So you can actually choose obviously choose the recorder as the main channel, so then you can see you have better sound basically. So I guess you could use anything like that. But if you want to use like a dedicated video mic, you know, where's my NTG gone? I don't know where my NTG gone. But I have one here, which is this is a Olympus ME33. So you can hook one up. Kind of look a bit silly, but you can hook another one up to make as a like a gun mic thing, because a lot of gun mic needs and require a mic jack to operate, because you have to put the voices into the video file itself. But if you want to record it separately, I think the Olympus LSP4 is actually a very good option there. Very good. Okay, and Micro Four Third users should say it loads. Yes, I use Micro Four Third. It takes nice pictures. We all know that. We all know that. People just other people trying to deny it, but we all know that it takes great pictures. It's just depending on what sort of thing that you use it for. And frankly, most people that I would say 90% these days, a lot of people just share their work online anyway. So you don't really need too much of too many megapixels and stuff like that. And that is really overkill for a lot of people, that's for sure. While our YouTubers are moving over to Micro Four Third, yep, I know, and not just my YouTube, I think a lot of actual photographers are moving into Micro Four Third. Like I mentioned, it's a really good reason for it, just because it's so small and light compared to the big full frame thing, and it's a genuine reason there why people are moving to Micro Four Third. And Terence, you finally able to catch me live. How many times have you tried? And oh, thank you, Ben. Thank you, and welcome you, and welcome for joining. Of course, I always like to see people joining here. It's always a good thing. I think nowadays there's no bad camera, and this is exactly what I said before. There really isn't a bad camera in 2020. Now we're in 2020. All the cameras out there, regardless whether it's going to be beginner or professional level cameras, they're all super capable. And in fact, you know, because of that, I think that, you know, if you are okay with the handling, the weight, the costs, you know, everything like that, you know, you just choose whatever feels right for you. Like I mentioned, I'm not here to convince you to come to Micro Four Third or anything like that. I'm just here to tell you that you should try it, and also be appreciative in photography. You know, as a photographer or content creator, just appreciate, instead of talking specs and talking other, you know, this and that. You know, I think we are a nice community here. We are here to appreciate and learn about each other, learn from each other about photography and other things, and inspire each other to do better things with your camera. So this is the main thing that I'm trying to promote. So it's really good. Okay, Randy, I was shooting the Blue Angel with the X, the 300 f4. Folks were amazing at the camera, and also hand holding while shooting near a tripod. Oh dear, I know, because my dad in Hong Kong, he uses a Canon 5D3 still, and then he has one of those 100 to 400 L lens, the big one. He has one of those. He's now getting too old to handle it now. That's exactly it. He said to me, you know, he was so heavy, he actually gave up photographing birds and stuff like that 2 years ago. And I actually told my dad that if you really want it, I get you a Micro Four Third system so you can actually start shooting again. And he actually said yes, but unfortunately he did had an accident last year, so he broke his hip, and ever since he's not really that mobile anymore. So it's a bit of a shame that he doesn't really take any photographs anymore. But I know that he still enjoy it. So he's now watching my YouTube channel instead. But he loves shooting wildlife and birds and things like that. But yeah, the form factor really plays a big part there. He told me that how many times he sees other bird photographers out there and having these big gigantic lenses. They have separate tripod, like I mentioned, just for the lens itself, because the lens is probably 6-7 kilo, and then with Micro Four Third at 300, like you said, Randy, he can hand hold it. Wow, that is cool, right? You can be so mobile. You can just move around like so quickly to follow the animal instead of picking up the tripod, trying to move another, trying to turn, all kinds of things. It's just never as fluid or as smooth when you're actually hand holding something, right? You get way more control from when you're hand holding something. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, I'll remember the earlier comment there. Yeah. Perhaps so, perhaps. Okay, let's see in here. In the new 150 to 400 Pro lens, I think Olympus will attract even more wildlife photographers, especially from older generations that are tired of big lenses. You know what, yeah? I myself actually want to get this lens, even though I'm not a wildlife photographer. It's, call me a collector or something, maybe I have a little bit of gas going on, gear acquisition syndromes. I think this lens would be special. I think this lens would be very, very special. I would like to try it. I would like to try to see how it goes, and I may eventually fork out some money and buy that lens, and I think it will be a phenomenal piece of artwork. Too many people think the good photo happens because the camera and settings and not the content composition within it, and also the depth, by means of the meaning behind it. I have seen a lot of competitions these days. So when you go outside, because I've been on a few judge panels, I see pictures taken from iPhones. I see pictures taken from just a normal point and shoot cameras. They have great composition, great meaning within the photos and things like that. So yeah, just like I said, it's the photo that matters, less so about the gears and settings. I mean, obviously, technically, you do need to know how to set the cameras, but it's not something that, as a judge or as a viewer, would actually take notice of in most cases. Of course, you can describe about the journey, how you took that photo. It could be a really cool journey. It could be a great story behind how you capture that particular photos. And, but not necessarily about the settings and things like that, because people just want to enjoy your photo. When you go to an exhibition, you go to a display, you see all these grand photos there. You just look at them, you just admire how beautiful they take, how the story unfolds from a few frames of photos. This is something that I think is way more fun compared to just learning about, oh, this guy may have used a 2.8, maybe 2.8. It's quite dim here, possibly ISO 1600. Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't want to get into that, man, to be honest. Okay, and let's see, David. I'm searching a mic. Oh, hey, I think I have kind of said it already. How come it's a repeated thing? Maybe I have. Maybe you repeated yourself just to catch my attention. I think I said it already. I think LSP4 is definitely pretty cool. Rick Bear. We should get Micro Four Third as photography t-shirt with full frame. Is not is for heavyweight printed on them. Oh well, we should create something. Yeah, let me know some ideas. Maybe I make some merch. Would you buy it though? I want to mix merchandise and no one buys them. And point is a point of view, is a way to look at size no matter. That's correct, XP. That's correct. And let's see, I'm just scrolling down, and hello Fabian, hello again. Yes, no, you don't have to say sorry. You're welcome anytime. Even you want to catch the video afterward, it's all up to you. But of course, when people are always catching up on my life, and because all my lives are usually about an hour, 2 hours long, so it's quite long. So you have to listen through all the rubbish that I talk about. But having live obviously is a very fun interactions that you can talk about things and interact with each other as well, which is actually very fun. And and Ray also said about, obviously he probably responded to all my earlier remarks about larger files and megapixels and stuff like that, and that is true. This is exactly why I mentioned so many times that my whole computer system nowadays is actually cater and gear for the Micro Four Thirds, not so much a Micro Four Thirds, but the megapixel size, which is 20 to 24 megapixel. Any higher, I will need a more powerful computers and also more hard drive space to archive all the images that I take. So it's going to be very, very difficult to upgrade everything. People don't see that if they're only taking a few photos at a time. But as a pro, I take thousands and thousands and thousands a month. You know, this can slow me down significantly. And imagine the cost associating to increase all these company technologies that I have here for my jobs, and that really putting a toll on my actual financial stuff. And yeah, I know, I remember some guy, I think it was Hart or something, and asking me about business stuff and on the Micro Four Thirds. And I actually think Micro Four Thirds makes a very, very good business sense if you want to become a commercial photographer. Obviously, depending on your end clients, what the requirement is. If your end clients are commercial related mostly, or you want to get into the commercial market who shoot a lot of high-end stuff, like when I say high-end, just mostly printing big stuff, then Micro Four Thirds may not be a system for you. But for anything else, I think Micro Four Thirds is definitely makes sense, makes financial sense, because you can get it entire business up and running for a third, maybe even a quarter of the money that you have to put in compared to full frame. And that's a fact, because I remember when I sold off my whole full frame Canon stuff, and I bought the entire new kit system for Micro Four Thirds. I still have change left, and don't forget I'm selling second-hand stuff on my Canon, and that means they already depreciated, and I still got change left. Wow, you know, that is cool. And let's see. Okay, John B saying that Tony B is correct. It's far easier to blame equipment than to gain skills and talent necessary to take truly great photograph. Exactly right, you know. And I think we all agree here that skills and it's definitely something to work on if you want to improve your photography. It's not about gear. Don't ever blame your gear for missing a shot, because you can find a way. You can always find a way to do things. You may say that, okay, my camera doesn't have IAF tracking. That means I can't get a really good portrait, right? That's rubbish. You know, you can always capture a good portrait without IAF. And even though IAF is cool, I use it. But if you don't want to use it without appreciating what it can do for you. And people are so relying on these new technologies that have been screaming by the manufacturers to say that they can take better photograph with this and this features. But look at all the grandmasters in the old days. Look at all the people without these technologies, when they're shooting like older generations cameras, they can still achieve really brilliant results. Why? Because they have skills. They train themselves, they know exactly how to operate a camera to capture those kind of shots without any of those features that are being set today. In 2020, we have all kinds of technology to help us out now. So like you are less likely to make an error. You can capture the shots quicker and more accurately, that's for sure. So that's also true that if you're just starting out and you get all these features, you just don't know how to operate when the camera starting to misbehave. And then that is something that I would say to all photographers, like driving. You know, that you want to learn driving a manual car first, or just go straight into automatic. So if ever going to happen, something happen to the car, things like that, you know, it's always better to drive a manual, right? You know, and then you can learn how to, you know, what gear means. You know, if you drive automatic, you probably don't know what low gear means of high gear. You probably have no idea what any of those means. So it's similar in that terms. And so in photography, learn to shoot the old hard way before you starting to go into all these like fancy new features, and it's always better that way. And I think in that case you would definitely appreciate all the features and also be more efficient in using those as well. And John, would you recommend amateur photography joining RPS? Yes, I would say that joining RPS is pretty cool, because they do have a lot of resources that you can have. Not only they give you a quarterly magazines that you can read about all the really cool photographers out there in different genres, but you can also join local groups. They have local groups you can join and have meetings with, although may not be now, but then usually they have like a monthly meetings or quarterly meetings. You can meet different genre of photography, so that they have macro group, they have wildlife groups, so they might actually organize events as well. So it's actually not bad. It's quite good. Is it necessary for, let's say, to be recognized? If you're in a commercial environment, it certainly helps a little bit, I'm sure. But you don't really need it, to be quite honest. So it depends whether you do want to have access to those resources. If you do, and then I think RPS is pretty good, and they're quite consistent as well. And compared to other camera groups and camera clubs, RPS is obviously more recognized and more organized as well. So they are worth considering if you are thinking about joining something like this. Let's see. Who says which one is a full frame photo? And okay, let me show you another landscape photo. Pandas. And back in the days when I shot with Canon, but today I'm getting more important pictures because I take my EM1 nearly with me on every walk. Back in the days, my 50D was lying dry and safe in the closet. Yeah, like what everybody said, right? You know, the best tool, the best camera is the one that's always next to you. I guess because of the form factor. And it certainly means something to a lot of photographers out there. That is definitely helps the Micro Four Thirds becoming more important in any photographer's lives if they have one, because it's just easier to live with. It's just easier to go out with. It still take great pictures. It's still very capable, you know, and I don't see any drawbacks in any cases. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And Randy, during the lockdown, I went to the desert, and yeah, really, you went to the desert? I wish I have a desert here. You know, like I can go and explore. That'll be cool. Straight between, I've never made a photo which I would have been better course of full frame. It is not a keeper, but it's bigger bad pictures in the first place. Not because I've used Micro Four Thirds. If it's noisy, I turn it to black and white. Well, to be honest, I never really worry about noise, to be quite frank, and that's my 2 cents. You know, I never really worry about noise. In fact, why would I be bothered about noise? I mean, I brought up in the film days where I shoot like high ISO films, like, you know, film grains was like starting to creep in from ISO 800 onward. You know, it's just really prominent in any photographs. So I'm just brought up with that. So I kind of accustomed to this kind of look. So in terms of digital noise, I actually think that they're fine. You know, it's ought to mean that you're shooting something very difficult and tricky. You know, if you suddenly shoot a pitch black photo with no noise, they creep me out. It doesn't look right to me. I don't know if it makes sense. You know, I actually want to see some textures, want to emphasize the actual locations, the timing of the photos and things like that. So having some grains, having some textures, like digital noise in the photo, actually do me a favor in terms of presentations. And I rarely need to use a very heavy-handed noise reduction just to get rid of everything. I actually leave some noises in, I mean, and to create that sense of lower light situation. This is something that I would like to create, and that's something that I would mean a lot to me, I think, in photography. So yeah, never too bad about noises. I don't think I mind at all. And let's see. Oh, Randy uses LSP4, so yeah, that's a good choice there. That's a good choice. Oh, let's talk about articulated screen. How many of you have watched my EM10 Mark III end of term review videos? And I'm only saying that because a lot of you guys actually disagree with my comment about moving from flip screen to fully articulated screens. My reason of saying that, because not so much about which one I prefer, is more to do with the actual development of the camera, and also how it can promote to the newer customers and also widen the spectrum and more people getting into the Micro Four Thirds realm. It's just the natural way of doing it. It's not so much about whether it's good or bad. I mean, I do agree a lot of the points, because I do like the flip screen in terms of lower light, like lower angle shooting, like, you know, for photographers, I think it's really cool. But nowadays, I think a lot of younger generations, and they do shoot videos and stills at the same time. So I think they are trying to broaden out the market a little bit, and that could happen. I'm not saying it will, because I don't know. I don't know. I'm just only speculating. But I wish they may want to make a fully articulated screen to appeal to a wider audience. So, so I can understand, I appreciate, like I mentioned, you know, I respect everything, and I do like the flip screen as well myself. So don't worry about it, I do. And Fabian, hello. I left full frame because I never took my gear with me. Now with my Fuji kit, I like most MFT shooters here. I can take it away every time because it's so light and small. Absolutely, it's form factor that matters. Form factors. And wow, oh, OM slide copier. I have to get one of those. I'm still using old school film scanner, and I still have one of those Nikon Cool Scan. I don't know if you guys know of those stuff. And I still one of this big, massive 35mm scanner that takes like 5 minutes per scan. It's really like ridiculous, but it's high quality, but it just takes forever to scan. I need to get one of those and try it out to see whether it's good or not. Pan F is an amazing camera, everything that is not dynamic. And new version with face detect. Yeah, I'm feeling you, Anastas, you know, and who doesn't want a Pan F2 with that sort of features, right? I would like to too. Okay, looks like my stream cam is run out of battery, so I can't switch angle now. So I'm now relying on my main cam, even though I forgot about that completely. Okay, let's see. Marsha replies, sorry, it took me so long to actually scroll through the messages. You are sunny, humid. Ooh, 30 degrees and higher. You got a summer there. You got summer there. Really, really nice. And we had a summer 2 weeks ago. Last week was definitely wet. This week is a bit ups and down. Like this morning we had really lovely sunny weather, but like now it's all grey and it was wet out there earlier. So it's weird. It's British weather. It's British weather. And now it just makes me want to travel even more. I just want to get out of this country and just go somewhere else. Hi, John. Hello from Charlottesville. Wow, cool stuff. Thank you for joining me. And you probably joined me a long time ago because I'm only managed to get through about halfway at the moment. And yeah. Oh yes, absolutely. Anas does talk about Ibis for the Olympus EM1 Mark III. Matthews, and in one of the YouTubers, also my friend as well, he had a channel called Mirrorless Lessons. He did a recent video stabilization tests on between the EM1 Mark III and the Fujifilm X-T4 side by side, and you can clearly see. Even though both camera has the same f-stop compensation, technically, because both are listed as 6.5 stop Ibis, and when he does the testing side by side, you can clearly see the Micro Four Thirds still trumps the X-T4 Ibis. Like I mentioned so many times, it's not so much about the f-stop, not just about the numbers, it's the physics. You know, the sensor has to, is so much bigger compared to the Micro Four Thirds, like, let alone full frame. Even APS-C is still quite a bit bigger than the Micro Four Thirds. And the actual stabilization itself requires a lot of space for movement. And the Micro Four Thirds can actually achieve that because the sensor is so much smaller. And so it's easier to compensate that sort of movement. So that's why I think that in a lot of cases, people completely misunderstood or mistaken that, oh, I'm having 6.5 stop or 7 stop in my camera, and I can easily do the same thing as what you can do in the Micro Four Thirds, but that's not technically right. And so you really have to try it and then believe it, how much better the Olympus Ibis really is compared to all the other system there. Not saying that they're bad, but in terms of depending what sort of thing you do, for photography you probably can live with it, but if you do a lot of handheld video shooting, and the Olympus is still way better compared to any other system out there. That includes Panasonic, and so that is something to shout about in terms of Ibis. Even though every generation's Olympus would say, oh, this is half a stop better compared to the older system, but even that half a stop makes a big difference in stabilization. And unless you really try it, you don't really notice, how better the improvement really was. So it's something really cool. Hello, Ian, and love my channel. Thank you for loving my channel. Thank you. And OMD stuff. I started Olympus Malaysia many years ago with the OM10, moving the D20 and to the E3, and now I have the EM1 original. Fantastic. Well, welcome to the Olympus family. Welcome to the digital Olympus family. And the OM10 is a lovely, lovely consumer camera. I love that camera because it just looks good, right? And the E20, E3 is a beast. E3 is a beast. The only problem with E3 is the electronic, right? And the electronic always fails when it gets a certain age. So, and because there's no parts now, and Olympus has already ceased servicing the E3, and which is unfortunate. So that means when it dies, it dies. It can't be repaired. So it's something. It's a little bit sad, but unfortunately that's reality because everything's on Micro Four Third now. John Allen was out of the EM10 to Pennyway. Okay. Marco is saying, aren't the only sensor manufactured by Sony? No, not that I heard of anyway, not from what I've been told. I don't think they're made by Sony. I think they're actually in-house sensors. There have been chats about the Sony sensors, but so far as I know, they're like Canon. They have their own sensors. Although I'm not saying that I can rule out the entire lineup, whether there are any Sony sensors anywhere in the any of the Olympus camera, including point and shoot stuff. So I'm not entirely sure. So don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure the 20 megapixel isn't from Sony, but I may be wrong. So yeah, something to find out, but I don't really mind whether it's from Sony or not, this sensor. But from what I know, from the professor that I quoted earlier, the Olympus sensor does have a better better for astrophotography because you can see more different spectrum of lights. So that means that signifies also that it's slightly different to other sensors, including Sony. So that may not be from Sony at all. So we shall see. Hello, Terence. Oh, you're from Malaysia. Hello. I've been to Malaysia. I love KL and I love the food there. To be honest, I do miss the food. And guess what, guys? I don't know if any of you like what I'm about to say. I love durians. Have any of you tried durians? Malaysian durians is fantastic. Really, really good. Even though my wife will hate me for the next 2 weeks, but I love durians. Seriously, it's just fantastic. And Malaysia's just got the best stuff there. It's just really, really good. And I miss being there. Last time when I went in KL, I had lots of durians in 2 days, and I always make myself sick. Just I had so many of them, and then I don't know. It's just me. I love durians, seriously. Okay, let's see. Good for ghost hunting. All right, hello Najam, and recently bought a Panasonic GM5. That's a really cracky little camera. I think one thing I like about Panasonic is that they created these tiny little cameras, and I was hoping that Olympus would create something similar for the Micro Four Third. And you know, the smallest cameras that they currently produce are the EPL series, but that is almost the same size as a Pen F, which is flat and no EVF or anything like that. But I just find that the GM series from Panasonic is actually pretty cool because it's really, really small, and I would like to see Olympus get something like this as well, and because that's only for me personally, because I would like to utilize some of my Olympus lenses but on a much slimmer body, so I can just really shove it in my bag as a second cam or just as a holiday cam. Just a really, really cool little thing that and that allow me to just take it anywhere. Maybe even my kids can use it because it's smaller and lighter, and yeah, that would be really cool, right? Oh, you have a Nikon Df, Randy. That's a really good looking camera too. I love that. Do you have a black one or silver one? I like the silver one. Do you have that limited edition 50mm 1.8 lens as well? That is a cracking combo. I think it looks the part. It certainly reminds you of the old FM cameras. Have you tried Volvion? No. Oh, hang on. No, I have tried Volvion. That's Sigma, yeah. And then it's pretty good, I have to say. Even though the megapixel isn't there, but then it's actually very, very good colors. I really like it's something about it. The colors certainly looks a little bit different. I wouldn't say weird, but different from the Volvion sensor. It's actually very good technology there. Cray, sure, hello. And we may expect an Olympus 7mm 1.2, 1.8. You're asking me why? If I know something, I tell you right now. I'm very certain that Olympus is going to sack me in the next hour or so. So, but unfortunately, I don't know any about thing. I don't know anything about forthcoming 7mm 1.2. So I'm safe. Yeah. So lenses used the Starry Sky and the Olympus says that is best for astrophotography. Yes, and I can see why you're saying that. At this moment in time, if you want an ultra wide that has larger aperture without being a fish eye, Laowa is the only lens that is there. So there's a 7mm f2. So it's not 1.8 or 1.2 that you want, but they have an f2 lens manual focus, but it's okay. It's not too bad. And so you can still do astro. You can still maybe. You just have to boost the ISO just a tad. We just have to wait for the 1.2 lenses to come eventually, hopefully. Did not know Olympus is sharper than the Nikon. Sharpness is subjective as well, you know, depending on what sort of sharpness is looking for. Oh, I think I would say, if you want to talk about sharpness, I think Olympus sharpness is more organic, definitely more realistic look compared to some of the more modern lenses, for instance, like Nocticron from Panasonic, Leica, and also some of the full frame lenses there. Even modern day Leica lenses, they are very clinical. They are 1 and 0. So if it's sharp, it's sharp, and is anything out of focus, is not sharp. It's just too punchy. It's something that I actually don't quite like personally, but again, subjective. That I prefer a more organic look, so it's just kind of like I'm seeing, using my human eye, seeing something. I just like the gentle defocusing graduations. You know, it's just slightly better with that, in this sort of the defocusing actions there. It's just really, really smooth. I prefer that more than just like sharp, not sharp, sharp, not sharp. It's just too much for me. Maybe my brain just not as young as most of you are, and it's just way too much for my brains to handle. Okay, let's see if there are any other thing that's here. Okay, ZYC. Is it weird that when I'm shooting with primes, I can never shake the feelings that I'm missing shots? Right, okay, that's a shooting experience here. No, of course not. I switched from zooms to primes many years ago. When I first started it, I did feel it, like what you just said, missing shots, because I'm not able to suddenly from telly to Y, or Y to telly, for instance, you're missing things. I don't, because now I'm becoming more selective what I shoot. I think that this is something you also have to train yourself. Once you have a specific focal length, you just have to train to use that particular focal length to its maximum, and you just kind of train your eyes to view in a certain way. Like I mentioned, you don't overshoot everything. Take your time, making sure that you don't overshoot everything. And if you do have a zoom lens, this is also another thing. Zoom lens was designed for convenience, for photographers who know what they're doing. But over time, it's becoming a standard issue for most photographers, and then people are just using out of laziness instead of using their legs, for instance. And so they just zoom in and out a lot, and then just taking lots and lots of photos. And it also increases the number of photos you were taking that may not actually make sense. So rather than that, I would kind of maybe encourage you to use one focal length at a time, even if you're using a zoom lens. If you're not using a prime lens now, just trying to train your eyes to view the world in a certain way, and that will help the photography really, really well. And let's see. Okay, hello. You're joining us, we what? I saw your comment earlier. And I use EM52 and the 12 to 42.8 Laowa 7.5 f2 start with the oh, you're doing the the Litro Astro. Really good. Thank you for making some tips there. That's great stuff. And oh, Robin, hello, what's up? Robin Wong is in the house. So sorry that I just noticed your comment, and I'm still kind of halfway through the comments there. I know there's going to be overkill now, so I may not be able to get through all the comments, but I think in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to go straight to the bottom and start seeing all the latest comment other than missing out a lot of stuff. So Robin was in the house, yeah? I bet you guys all know Robin. Robin is a fantastic guy. He does a lot of helpful tutorials, tips for photography, making sure that you know how to handle your cameras, your OMD cameras. So he's the man to talk to all about the camera itself. And so, yep, I'm pretty sure that you'll know him. So if you don't, go and subscribe to his channel, and he has all sorts of stuff that you will definitely make you a better handler for your OMD gears, and he knows so much stuff that even I don't know. So I learned a lot of stuff from Robin, and he's really, really great. Yes, I'm good. Robin, thank you for joining me. And London's still locked down, even though that we are kind of, we can go out and shoot, but we can't really shoot with a model and things like that yet. And so that's why I'm still kind of stuck in the home environment and do all kinds of stuff with my kids. Being with a family also means that I can't work professionally during the day. I have to work at night time. So I'm an hour at the moment, so I work at night rather than during the day. So that's my life, unfortunately, for the last 3 months. Oh, he's actually gone. All right, okay, and okay, and let's see what else in here. It's just quickly checking in, and it's gone already. Okay, right, I'm gonna just skip through all this stuff then. He's got a few high there. Okay, about Astro. Okay, this is another one of you tricks, is it? Amazing one to kickstart trackers. Oh, okay, right. I need to see that later. Fantastic. Right, Terry. Do I know the name of the professor? I can dig that up for you, and I have to actually go back to my notes because from last year. Yeah, he's a Taiwanese guy, so he doesn't speak very well English, but I was speaking Mandarin to him, and when at the photography show, he designs a lot of filters. He's the owner of the company STC. Yes, Google STC, and you will see the company who makes a lot of filters for different cameras and things like that, especially for Micro Four Third. His Taiwanese company, he does all the optical designs himself, so he knows a lot of light stuff and spectrums and kind of thing. He showed me also all sorts of scientific graphs and things which I never understood. So, but he's a lovely guy. He's actually pretty cool. And yeah, he told me exactly what I just told you about the Astro stuff. He's a really, really, really knowledgeable professor. Or doctor, I can't remember if it's a doctor or professor. I'm pretty sure it's professor. Okay, and let's see now. And having a couple of nice conversations in TNC. What was that there you say? Goodness, we went there about Canon. I was having a couple of nice conversations in TNC comments, and despite what Tony said about Olympus and 2, Tony fan trolls hunted me down. Never ever engage the trolls. That's how I learned about it when I first started YouTube channel. And frankly, they can really hunt you down. I'm telling you, seriously, these guys are doing better jobs than one of those private investigators. They can really hunt you down all your social media accounts and things like that, man. And seriously, these people are unbelievable. Oh dear me, sad indeed. Okay, and let's see, Anastas. With the new full-frame mirrorless cameras, they can make very compact lenses, but they want to eliminate the weak spots or DSLRs and making sense of this whole here, which I think that's responding to my earlier comments and remarks about the bigger bigger mirrorless formats and having bigger lenses and things like that. I think so. I really think so. And it's something that people don't quite understand when they thought that mirrorless, it has to be small. Not necessarily, depending on format. And still, if you're going a full-frame mirrorless body, the lenses are still going to be a full-frame lens, still going to be huge and heavy. Look at the size of the latest Canon 85 1.2 lenses, for instance. That thing is a beast. And if you have read the news about the rumored up-and-coming 58mm 0.95 for the Nikon Z, that lens is going to be 2.5 kilo. 2.5 kilo just on the lens. That says everything. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure if it's a 0.95 lens on an Olympus, it's going to be big, but still, it wouldn't be 2.5 kilo weight. So that is for sure. So you don't have to worry about that too much. So let's see what other things here. Camille, more about Astro. Right, okay, there's more Astro stuff going on there. I think there's a conversation you guys have. Let's see, I'm going to script through. Oh, I saw some new people here. Hello, Being Wolfie. First time on the live show. I've watched a lot of my video. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. And welcome to this big, lovely family right here. I know that you're a Micro Four Thirds shooter. You have played around with the Ricoh GR3. If so, what did you think compared to the Micro Four Thirds body with a lens with the same angle of view? Well, the GR3, first of all, is an APS-C sensor. Of course, is very different in some respect. In terms of general shooting experience, I actually think it's pretty equal. But GR3 does have some certain tricks on its sleeve, such as the snap mode, which is actually a very quick photographing without having to use autofocus. For instance, you're just pre-focusing a certain zone. Basically, it's a zone focus digitally. But you can also do that with any Micro Four Thirds camera, such as the Pen F or EM5. On a prime lens, you could just set zone focus. You can have the similar sort of shooting experience with the GR3. Obviously, another benefit of having the Ricoh GR3 is the compactness. So being an APS-C usually is a bigger body, but because how they design the actual body and lens together and how they mold it together, and the lens is also designed specifically for that sensor, it means that they can have a much slimmer body by default. So if you're really looking for an ultimate portable fixed lens body, and the GR3 is something for you. But if you want some flexibility, let's say you want to, let's say from time to time, change the focal length into slightly longer for portraits or macro lens for some closer stuff, Micro Four Thirds is still much better in that respect because you do have the flexibility there. Even though the shooting experience for a given specific focal length is very similar, and the difference would just be the body size. I would say, you know, the GR3 is slimmer for sure, lighter for sure, because it's a fixed body. There's no mounts there, and everything just a bit flatter. And the Micro Four Thirds, on the other hand, is an interchangeable camera, so it has lens mount. There's more electronics there. But Ibis, I think the Micro Four Thirds Ibis was still better than the GR3 image stabilization, and I don't think you can compare to it for sure. But if you just purely photographically, yeah, they're comparable. They're comparable, and I think because I shot with the GR before, I shot with the GR1 and GR2, and also the GR film as a GR film camera, and I love them. I actually do love those cameras because they are really compact. However, if I have to choose between using a GR or just using a Pen F, for instance, I would choose the Pen F any days. Oh, supersonic filter. That's what is this called? Yeah, thank you, Alice, for saying that. And hello, Ashay. Okay, wow, that's so far behind I am now. I'm just talking about what super wave filter. Oh, Burana. How far behind I am. Hello, Dickie. Yes. Oh, packaging. Yes. You want to see that, guys? You want to see my packaging? I have to show you guys. Yes, I forgot about that. Really. Right, 1 second. I'm gonna show you exactly what it looks like. Yep. Here, my box. There we go. This is my box. Yes, thank you for reminding me, actually, Dickie. Yes, I was going to show you guys this. Right, guys, I have an announcement to make. Olympus has made a special EM5 with my face on it. There we go. Can you see my face? I am super dope about this. You know, this is the latest OMD EM5 Mark III Vlogger Kit. So it involves everything you need to take perfect vlogs and videos with your EM5, including a gorilla pod, EM5 Mark III, the 12mm f2 prime, the very sexy square hood, LSP4, the shot mount, and the windjammer, all in one package. Ta-da! Isn't that a great advertise? Fantastic! Oh wow, I am super happy about that, you know, and And I just, yeah, I'm really stoked. I'm really stoked about it. And who took the picture? Tracy actually took the picture. I have to give credit to her. She took the picture for me when we were out actually shooting a YouTube video that day, and I just took it out and asked her to can you take a photo for me? And yep, it ends up here in the box. And there you go. This is the special OMD EM5 Mark III Vlogger Kit. Yeah, like I said, it's actually quite good value. I mean, I know it's still expensive because you're looking at the EM5 Mark III with the 12mm f2 prime and all the accessory attached to it. But if you so happen to be looking for the EM5 Mark III with that particular lens, it's actually a pretty good deal because it includes the LSP4 and all the other accessory that comes with it. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm advertising it because I want you to buy it. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really shocked about the whole thing, and in fact I have produced some videos for this particular project. I have been working on this promotion for the last 6 months, since January when I was in Hong Kong. I was filming in Hong Kong for this particular vlogger kit. I was doing a lot of promotional stuff on behind the scenes, and this is finally happening. And then after half a year I can finally see the packaging and see the results of it. So this is something that really good. I'm just happy. And yeah, I can't stop smiling every time I see the box. And yeah, it really is something, you know. I've never seen any, I've never done anything like this before, so this is definitely a first for me. And I lost word how happy I was. So when I first saw the packaging, when the box came through my door, and I couldn't wait to open it just to see my face on the box. And so thank you for reminding me, Ricky. And yeah, because I actually posted that photo on my Instagram already. So if you guys don't know my Instagram, just search Jimmy Cheng Photography. You'll see my Instagram there. And I've posted that photos there, and everybody just talking about it. So yeah, you must have seen it from my Instagram. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just trying to see the best. All the people right here talking about it right now, and Ray just said that have myself marketing my own stuff. Isn't that great, right? You know, just me here talking about my own packaging and things like that is weird. It's certainly weird. Ray also on the instant camera as well, and the packaging and stuff like that, which is you know, he's also been through it, so pretty cool. If you Polaroid stuff, you ever want any Polaroid stuff, you know, you look up for Ray. You know, he's very prominent in the Polaroid world. And there, and enjoy listening to your show while I'm working, shooting my jobs in Sony a6000. It makes me miss my EM5 too, you know, when I work. Looking forward to getting an EM13. Yay! Wow, welcome back and rejoin the Olympus family here. Yes, why don't you get the EM5 Mark III Vlogger Kit? Just saying. And wow, the edition should be twice the price because of your face. Really? Well, I wish I get lots of commission for it, and that would be great, right? That would be great. But if you need any help to buy in the UK, please do come and ask me, and I have some special treat for all of you lovely listeners out there. And because private message me if you so happen to be in the UK, or you can order from the UK, go to Olympus online shop. I can give you something very special, but please private message me and I'll give you a code to use. This is only my personal code, so you can use it. And I don't want to advertise publicly because I may not get in trouble, but I may get some other people jealous, namely other retailers, and so I don't want to get into trouble. So please, if you do want something, you can message me and I will help you out a little bit. So, so hopefully that will be an incentive to buy my lovely vlogger kit. And that would be great, right? Christopher, congrats on the special packaging. Thank you. And right, okay. Oh, Juan, hello. Greeting from Chile. Woo, yes. Randy, do I get monetary kickback. I wish I do get kickback, and I wish I do. You know, and that would really help me out in this horrible situations. You know, this COVID-19 pandemic, worldwide lockdown kind of thing, and it really has a big impact on my business for sure. But I have you guys to support me. That's more than enough, and I really appreciate that all of you guys are here. Hart is saying, "Can I buy the box?" I wish they send me more boxes so I can actually ditch it out, you know, and things like that. I'm gonna frame one. They're sending me just the box itself, so I'm gonna frame up the box. That will be like my achievement of the year in 2020, right? And yeah. Oh, really? Let's get thinking that's the actual true scenario, not a random model. Well, why? Sometimes you might want to have a very nice looking model. I'm not a model looking guy, you know. So, but I'm still happy to be featured on the box somehow, and it's definitely something to tell my kids, you know, when they finally understand what Daddy was doing. So like, look, your dad was famous once. At least it's in the box, right? You know, this is something cool. I'm still happy. I'm still happy about this. It's quite a big box though, you know, because the EM5 is actually quite a small box, and if I kind of open the box for you, then you can kind of see what's inside. I'm going to do another video on this actually, because it's quite exclusive, and let me just see if I can open it. So if I open it, you can see all this. Ooh. All right, just open it, take out the warranty card. You can see that inside the EM5 Mark III is quite small. Then you have the 12mm lens, the Gorilla Pods, and all the other accessory underneath the box. And it's pretty amazing how much stuff they put in this thing. It's actually pretty heavy, and it's definitely special. Definitely special. I wish they have Jimmy name on the body as well. That would be cool. And. Thank you, Hart. Thank you. And okay, right. I shoot street photography, people. I want to upgrade my lens. The prime 75 versus 40 to 150.8. Thanks in advance. Which one should I go for? Right, you shoot street. Presumably, you want to shoot from distance because both of these focal lengths are very far. Not my usual street lens, because I actually like to do the opposite by going close to people. But if you want something that you can shoot from distance, I would prefer or suggest you to get a 40 to 150 2.8, because when you're shooting far, you need a little bit of flexibility there, and the 40 to 150 will give you that flexibility. Even though the 75 is sharp, it's 1.8. I know that. It's also good, really good rendering, very sharp, lovely bokeh, for instance, everything. But the 40 to 150 would definitely give you that advantage of having that flexibility, especially when you're shooting from distance on the street. So yeah, I would go for the 40 to 150 for sure. Let's see. Oh, someone disagreed. Someone said lighter the better. And John, hello. John, does that make me a celeb now? I never consider I'm a celeb. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy with a camera, and I'm talking to you guys. If you meet me in real person, some of you actually met me already in photography show. You talk to me, I will sound and look exactly the way I am now. You know, and I'm a normal guy. I'm a guy with 2 kids who's screaming my heads out all the time, and then and so happened that I just use camera to make money. And no, I don't think I wouldn't consider myself as a celeb. And people may know me through businesses, through photography or something like that. But it would be great to be a celeb, right? You know, and I would get sponsors and I would get money, and I wish I would be like that. And wouldn't that be great, right? Let's see, anything else? Do you think Olympus will ever release a video focus body? Ivan, what I can tell you right now is that Olympus is definitely developing in the video side of the business, and that is for sure. I can guarantee that. Whether they are going to release a video focus body, that is subject to development and timing. And at this moment in time, because Olympus is very well known in the photography world, so I don't think that they would risk anything in terms of going into head-to-head with Panasonic, for instance, or any other companies that is currently very focused in the video side of it. But I know they're working on it. They know the importance of it, and also the growing popularity of the vloggers community, the video content creators community, and these things like that. And not so much about like really high-end commercial filming stuff, but certainly for people like for video creators and like people like myself who use the video capturing capabilities of the cameras, these people are very important for the growing market, because definitely a lot of the photographers are now going hybrid, which means they shoot videos as well as stills, and that means that there is a market there, and that market is definitely growing. And that is also why Olympus has finally made use of the face detection AF on the latest OMD bodies, such as EM1X, EM1 Mark III, and the EM5 Mark III, to allow you get these silky smooth autofocusing tracking capabilities for all the vloggers out there. And like I mentioned earlier, you might have missed it what I said. There were over the last month and a half, I noticed a lot of the big YouTubers who used to use Sony cameras and also Canon cameras are now switching over to Olympus because of how good the AF is, and also because it's a lighter system that allows them to travel a lot easier than having a full frame system. There you go. So I know that is definitely happening, and I think Olympus is definitely seeing the popularity is gaining. So that is a good sign for Micro Four Third in general. So I think it's a very good sign that more and more people are now finally appreciating the stabilization, the Ibis on the Olympus camera, and now the very capable autofocus and facial tracking capabilities on the cameras for videos and stills. So this is something to shout about. Rafa, what do you think about Olympus colors? May it beat Fuji's? Okay, looks like you may have missed my earlier conversation there. I believe overall in the entire photographic manufacturing world, so to speak, I have tried almost all the cameras manufacturers like Sony, Fuji, Nikon, Canon, you name it. I've tried most of them, and to me, Canon still have the best color tones, and not just because I used Canon before, but in the Olympus is probably second to Canon in terms of producing a very natural skin tones and a very good base of color for you to do some editing at the end. Fuji is very good, but I have to say that Fuji is still Fuji. By means of that, they like to keep the kind of Fuji look in their photos. So you always have that little green hint in any of the photos there. Whether you apply preset or not, it's still kind of like there. So it makes me have to edit more, just a little bit more. I know you can use film presets if you have purely just JPEG shooter, that's fine. You just, if you like the Fuji color, you just go with the Fuji. But then for me, I would like to create my own look for my final results. So I like to give it to my client from how I see things, from how I portray him or her, maybe even the group. So I would like to have that control at the end. So having a very good natural looking base colors is my criteria for any photographic equipment. So in that case, Olympus give me that platform to work with. So hope that makes sense, but this is how I see Olympus having the best colors there in modern digital world at the moment, aside from Canon. So this is something that I would once in a while, time and time again, talk about Olympus is the color is really good. So yes, I would say for me it's better than Fuji. I like Fuji because I used to shoot Fuji films in the analog world, so I do appreciate the colors. I love it and I love how it looks. But now in digital worlds, and I would like to create my own looks for my clients as well. So like having that base is definitely important for me. So let's see. Dell, congrats. Thank you very much. And just if I get a packaging on the EM1 Mark III. Unfortunately, no, that kit only appears on the EM5 kit, so not the EM1 kit. Apparently, I'm not pro enough to be featured on the EM1 kit. So so I'm only be on the EM5 kit, so just the more amateur level. That's how they see me. Okay, and Randy, I just got the MC20. I'm waiting for my local state park to open up. Oh yeah, that would be cool, right? I do have a lake behind our house, so like, we can actually go there to shoot some birds and stuff like that. So that's like the birds I showed you earlier. Oh, I'll give you a little ducks as well, if you like the little ducks. Here we go. That's the little ducks there. And that's what I see. Jimmy's outside the box. How much does special edition retails for? So this particular special edition, I can't remember. I think it's $17.99, and because it has the body, the lens, the LSP4, the hood, that retails for like 40 quids on its own. Oh, £60 on its own. The Gorilla Pot, the cables and stuff like that is all in there. So yeah, I think $17.99 is the retail price. But like I said, if you are interested in getting that kit, PM me, private message me, email me. I should be able to help you out a little bit. So let's see. Okay, and Michael Miller, I got into ID myself. I'm Connecticut, USA, using Nikon 750, lots of accessory. Was an Olympus OM1 and OM2N film for about 25 years. Please see my question above. I may have missed your question. Where is it? If you don't mind, I will answer you after this because I have to scroll all the way back, and I don't know where your thing is now. It's gonna be hard for me to track back because there's so many people talking at the same time, and it's gonna be tricky for me to track back. So you can private message me for sure. Let me just give you my email on the screen, and you can email me if you wish. Let me just type it out so you can. Okay, and so there you go. So this is my email. So if you want to email me, please do, about your question, and I shall be able to answer you more detail. So that would be okay. So hello Miller, and my advice is to rent a camera, blah blah blah. Yes. Jimmy, will you be trademarking my face? I think people actually recognize my face if I go out, especially when I'm wearing a hat and a denim jacket. People usually recognize me. I got a very easily recognizable features, and especially with my glasses and my hat. And I don't think I need to trademark it, unless people can clone my face somehow. That would be cool, right? That would be dangerous. That would be really horrible. No, I shouldn't say that. Okay, cool stuff. Let's see here, and. I'm actually going to the bottom, and then they go scrolling back at the moment. So, do you have setting recommendation for Ollie? Ooh, you have the is EM1 Mark II. Any recommendation settings for the 35 to 100 f2? I use that lens. I don't think there is any specific setting you need to do for that particular lens. It's very usable on the EM1 Mark II, or EM1 series for that matter, any at EM1. I know the EM1 Mark III works slightly faster on the AF, but only ever so slightly faster, not fast, you know, like double speed and things like that. But it's a great combo if you use the MMF3, the converter for the 4/3 lens to micro 4/3, which I also have, because the MMF3 is the only adapter that has weather seal, because MMF2 allows you to do that but has no weather seal. So if you want to have use the 35 to f100, if you want to get it for full weather sealness, because the 35 to 100 is weather sealed as well. So if you want to seal up the entire setup, you do need to get the MMF3 for the whole weather seal thing. But yeah, that combo works fine. I don't think there is any specific setting you need to use. Just check on the Ibis. If the Ibis doesn't detect the focal length that you use, then you just have to manually dial into the Ibis focal length to compensate accordingly and correctly, so it doesn't overcompensate or undercompensate certain things. Let's see. Yep. And John, hello. And what's your preference between the 17 and 25 for street travel, candid people shoot? Well, I use both, but if you ask me to, if I have to do a lot of candid, I would choose the 25, and then because 25 is better for people. And if 17 1.8, I probably would do a lot of street and travel, and something like this. I just want to show you that picture again of the street that I take. Where is it? So this one here. So this is a street photo. Oops, we spawned out. So something like this on the street, and just people there, a group of people, then 17 is fine. But if you want to just purely just do 1 or 2 photos like this one here, and I'm going to show you this one here. So something like this, you may want to use a 25, and this is actually 25. So it really depending on what type of photograph you want to capture, you make that adjustment accordingly. So I think if you want to do a lot more candid than the rest, then use 25. But if you want to do more street and travel and just a few occasional candid people, then 71.8 will serve you well. Finally, let's see. I'm going to end in 2 to 3 minutes, guys, and because it's been 2 hours long already, so I have to end my talk and have to get on with my dinner very, very soon, because it's about 5 o'clock now. Okay, let's see. Hey, Wiki, if Olympus will introduce a new sensor, would it necessary to buy new lenses and things like that? Not necessarily, depending on what lenses you have already. Some of the pro lenses already, all the 1.2 pro lenses should survive in the new environment, so I don't think you should be worried about. But if you have some of the lower end kit lenses, those would not work well with any higher resolution stuff, so just bear it in mind. I don't know exactly, no one has done any physical tests because there's none available that's currently over 20 megapixels so on the Micro Four Thirds sensor, so it's hard to really speculate, you know, whether they're going to work or not. But I'm pretty sure from my experiences by looking at images that the 1.2 lenses are definitely sharp enough to surpass what the sensor currently gives in terms of resolution. So last thing, and okay, last hi. Hi Jeff, from Australia. Is there any news and the release of the... I don't know, mate, and I would not be able to tell you anything, unfortunately, about releases unless it's already publicly announced, and so I'm sorry, I do not have any news for you. Like I mentioned, if I have anything that I know about, but I release it here unofficially, Olympus is going to come after me like this, like instantly in the next second. Okay, great stuff. Really thank you again for joining me and in my live chat once again for being a Micro Four Thirds photographer. I hope you guys get my points that I made earlier, and we had a really great conversation here. And thank you all for all your support all along through this entire live streaming series. And so far, I think it's been doing really, really well. I enjoy all of your company. This is from my bottom of my heart. You know, without you guys, I wouldn't be here talking. So this is really fantastic. And if you guys want to catch up with me also, unofficially, I also run a daily live stream for half an hour in the morning between 11 to 11:30 BST, British Summer Time, on Facebook. So you can just Google me, Jimmy Cheng, you'll find me, and very, very easily. So that's it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. Once again, I certainly have fun. You can see that my voice is definitely going somehow, and but I really truly enjoy this experience, and it makes me happy by making and listening, also talking to so many new friends, you know, and also see so many familiar faces now coming back to support me on a regular basis. This is really truly making me you know, happy as a person, not just a photographer, not just a YouTuber, nothing. As a human being, as a friend, I think I'm just happy to meet all of you. Like I mentioned so many times now, if I ever gonna have an opportunity to come to your country, your place, your cities, I would like to meet up with you guys, have a photo walk, have a coffee, have a beer, have a barbecue, have something, you know, and that would be awesome, right? You know, I just can't wait to have that opportunity just to come out and yeah, just to meet all the lovely people out there. Remember, we're all friends here, and I think we have a really good community here going. So let's keep it going, guys, and continue this momentum. And also, by the way, I will actually organize an open competition, photo competition, that will allow everybody to participate, and there will be prizes. So please stay tuned for my announcement. I'm still working on sponsors for these prizes, so just wait for that to happen. And once that's finalized, I will be able to tell you exactly what's going for the competition. This is going to be Red 35 photo competition. It's going to be an open, worldwide stuff, so stay tuned for that particular announcement. Unfortunately, I don't think I would be able to afford to give you a prize like this. I'm going to show my face once more time. I won't be able to give you a price like this. Unfortunately, this is way too expensive, unfortunately, and I don't think that I will be able to do that, but there'll be prices, so don't worry about that. There are already 2 sponsors agreed to do something, and so I have minimum 4 to 5 prices already, so that is really good. So I'm still working on this. Hopefully in time I'll let you know exactly what you can win, and I will let you know all the terms and conditions and details and things like that. So it's all fun. Like I said, it's all fun. I'm going to invite other judges as well to come on to look at the photos and also decide on which one's the winner. So you're going to have winners for each categories, for like macro, nature and things like that. But also you have a overall winner, like the Photographer of the Year award. There will also be a video as well. So if you guys are videographers, filmmakers, yeah, there will be a video category. So there will be no grand winner, just one winner for that particular category. So we shall see what's going to happen. But hopefully that will be fun, right? That's be cool. So thank you very much for joining in once again. And I know all of you guys are already disappearing. And never mind. And okay, that's good. So like I said, very thank you for all of you guys. S1. Oh, S1, Steve saying about S1. Okay, right, I'm not going to talk about it anymore, otherwise I can continue this conversation for another hour. So I better stop here. So thank you very much for joining me, and I see you all next week, next Wednesday again for YouTube. If you want to catch up on me with me on Facebook, like I mentioned, I'm running a daily live stream on Facebook. Search Jimmy Cheng, you'll find me there, and it's between 11 to 11:30 BST. So excellent stuff. Goodbye guys, and enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend, and have a lovely week. Stay tuned for my Sunday video. See you guys. Bye for now.